It's time for the Home Plate Report, sponsored by Pemco Insurance, for the love of prevention. Well, the Mariners have a day off before they start a cross-country road trip. And with the team packing their bags, there's plenty to break down. Terry Holloman joins me for this week's Home Plate Report. Hello, my friend.
Hey, Kelly, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. Seattle just had one of the world's greatest sports weekends, I would say, ever.
Weekends, period. Not just sports weekend, yeah, but for sure.
The city was buzzing. What stood out to you?
Man, everything was incredible about Seattle. Seattle was the place to be on the planet this weekend. You think about this. On Friday, we had the World Cup game, USA versus Australia. All eyes were on Seattle. Not just all eyes, all bodies. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing people enjoying themselves. And of course, we had the Mariners and the Red Sox going on. Boston Red Sox fans travel very well, so the city was packed full of people. And then everything that was just going on in the city. We had summer solstice parade going on. We had Father's Day going on. We had 75 plus degree temperature. It was incredible, man.
Seattle was shining on the biggest stage. So how do you think we played against the Red Sox with all these eyeballs on us?
Well, we started off struggling a little bit. Offensively, we couldn't get things going. Defensively, we gave up a bunch of runs in the beginning, but we finished everything out strong. In last night's game, we came out looking solid. The pitching was on point, and we ended on a high note, and it was a great game for the Mariners.
Absolutely, for all the fathers, too, and happy belated Father's Day to you as well, my friend. The Mariners have been struggling with injuries. We've been talking about this quite a bit. Luckily, Julio Rodriguez is back in the lineup, which was exciting, but the M's are still missing Randy and Luke Raley, and yesterday, Dom Canzone left the game early with a hamstring issue. What impact are these injuries having when we look at that list?
I mean, you look at this list, and it's been like this for the Mariners for a long time. They've really been walking the tightrope, and not just walking a tightrope, they've been walking a tightrope while juggling chainsaws. You got your guys, your starters, the guys that you rely on to lead this team have been injured all season long. And it's usually, when you talk about sports and franchises and organizations like this, it's always the next man up mentality, right? Mm-hmm. Next man up, next man up. But what do you do when there's nobody
on the bench?
Right?
I know.
And so you think about that, but then also you think about the guys that are starting. They're starting for a reason, right? And so you bring in new guys off the street or off the farm teams, and it's new guys that aren't up to the same level that the other guys might have been, and you're losing a little consistency and continuity. So next man up, they've been hanging in there, though.
Yeah, we really have. So shout out to everyone that is stepping up to the plate. No pun intended.
Look at you.
Woo! Look at that on this Monday. Quick check of the AL West standings, too. There we go. The Mariners are still leading the division by a game and a half. So that's a positive, followed by the A's, who made up some ground this weekend. And here's who leading the stats. Randy still leads in the batting average and on-base percentage. Julio Rodriguez leads in hits and RBIs, and he shares the home run lead with Luke Raley. Amazing. And here's what's on deck, too, this week. The Mariners have 3 games in Pittsburgh and then 3 games in Cleveland. What do we need to know about the Pirates?
Yeah, of course, now we're going back on the road again. They struggled a little bit on the road, but looking at this Pirates team, they're a really young, kind of scrappy team. They have a really, really good pitching staff over there, right? So the Seahawks are going to have their work cut out for them when it comes to offense and hitting the ball, which is one of the things they've been struggling with a little bit this season already. And of course, it's because some of the guys have been injured. But also what we need to know is PNC Park, where they're going to be playing, is known as a pitcher's park. So we're going to have to adjust the game and probably play a little small ball, as they call it over there. But it is an opportunity, I think, for the Mariners to go on the road and get some wins. There's some W's that can be made there.
Okay, and I want to get to a fashion moment that you actually told us about, so I can't wait to see this. Some new cleats for Josh Naylor. Whoa!
Yeah, look at those things, man. Of course, I'm going to talk a little bit about the fashion, especially when it comes to the shoes. These are Jordan cleats that are custom made, that were gifted to him by his wife for Father's Day.
So special.
These cleats these Jordan cleats, Jordan 1s, by the way, have 5,000 crystals in them. So just imagine Josh Naylor, yo boy,
I know,
out there on the field doing this thing with these shiny, sparkly Jordans on. It was incredible, very stylish, and a very awesome gift by his wife, by the way.
Oh, definitely. Maybe this will help with, the road trip, him running around the bases.
Yeah.
We'll see some sparkles. Maybe it might distract the other
distracts
team.
the team, right?
It might work. It might all come full circle for
We've
us.
always talked about Josh Naylor, doing a little extra to get into the other team's psyche and their mind, and maybe it's,
He's thinking about everything. He's stepping up. He's doing what it has to be. In other news around the league, too, there's a big change coming to next month's Home Run Derby. There will no longer be a clock. Instead, each hitter will have 20 swings in the first round. Rounds 2 and 3 will have 15 swings per batter. And if a player homers on their last swing, they'll get to keep going until they miss. What do you think about this change? And of course, I really hope to see Cal again in the Home Run Derby. That was so amazing with his dad and his brother.
And it just kept going and going, and I love it too. I hope he gets there, but we want to make sure he's healthy and
Definitely. Take
ready
your time.
for the Mariners and not just the All-Stars. But I like this idea. I like it a lot, because I think the other way, when you have the clock on you, it puts a little bit more pressure on the batter, and they get tired. It's exhausting to swing that bat that many times in that amount of time. So slow it down a little bit, and I think it's going to be good for the fans because they're going to get a chance to see these guys, take their time and then knock balls out of the park rather than just, tipping and flying and all that good stuff. Yeah.
I want to get to our last topic, too. This is so interesting to me. The MLB is proposing big changes to the draft. The league wants to actually hit pause on drafting high schoolers. Basically, they say players should be a little bit older and a couple of years out of school before they're eligible. Why is this a big deal? And obviously, you being in this world, explain.
It was a big controversy for me, especially for a long time, because baseball players were allowed to come out of high school and be professionals immediately, where other players weren't. Football players definitely weren't. Basketball players weren't. But I think it's going to be a lot different now because it's going to change a lot of the amateur sports, especially college now. Guys aren't going to be able to come out and make millions of dollars immediately, so now they're going to have to go to college. Now you're going to get these superstar players that are playing amateur, that are playing college, and they got to do that for 2 years until they can transition into the pros. So there's the pros and cons to this, because guys are now going to be going into other leagues, college leagues, and they're going to be, playing great baseball for us to see on that level, but they're not going to get a chance to learn and be a professional and make millions of dollars immediately. So.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be something to watch for sure.
Definitely.
Thank you for your insight as always, my friend.
Sure.
Go Mariners, and again, happy belated Father's Day. Thanks for being here.
New Day Northwest is sponsored by Pemco Insurance.